task force specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that either, but they also, so the links and then the, what are they called, the slide things.
Yeah, the links to keep like bullets.
Yeah.
All I can do is make a sound.
But I know what you mean by the sound, so I got it. I can picture it. I know the terminology, but.
Oh, yeah, shade up Miranda, there it is.
Yeah.
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 Shade up.
Now, what's the story of him? I can't remember.
He owns, sorry.
Yeah, oh, I know, but
No,
somehow he's related to
I don't know, I just,
the whole IoT.
I'll have to ask
To
him
the family?
next time I
Saw
talk
that.
to him. I'll ask him.
Interesting. Very interesting.
They're very good Episcopalians, which means they don't come to church very often.
They don't need to.
I'm listening to Robin Williams. Really good Episcopalian. It was.
Are they CMEs?
What's that?
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes less than.
No.
Nancy shows up in summer. Weird times.
No.
Adolf, I don't know Adolf's not a churchgoer at all.
Here he is.
Stephanie, is that?
Is that Tammy?
It is this where I'm supposed to be?
Yes, it is. Come on in. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Come in. Have a seat. We'll have you sit up here since we are.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
You said Tony.
Yep, it's time.
Yes, Tony, we're expecting.
I'm gonna sit down there. He likes to
We're,
sit at the other end anyway.
who's it, Tony?
Yeah.
So, I did send you this, right, the loan report? I think I sent this and one other little piece.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe, okay.
Sorry.
If you want to take a look
Luke, Mickey,
at
nice to
that,
meet you.
Oh my gosh, you two don't know each
Not
other?
yet, I've heard the name many times.
and then we have the press here.
He and Linnea.
Anything you do not want, do you want your address to be revealed?
She was
that's
integral
okay.
in
Is that okay?
making everything happen the first couple of years.
Integral in making everything happen.
In general.
We're actually Linnea is
Incorporated.
like the silent puppeteer of all things.
Things good.
Including Campbell's that corporates and college spots.
Yeah, don't you wanna start that one?
It'll probably be, but
Go for it.
that'll all be fixed on the,
Okay.
the
sounds
loan
good.
documents, which are just about almost written.
Oh, they're all,
I've heard it from her.
You're the best.
I have them all, I have them all in, whatchamacallit, template form. I just gotta fill in the specific stuff that's different on each one, and that I can do in like
I love it, I
10,
read over
15
the,
minutes of documents.
So thoughts in executive session?
do we need an, is there anything on here that
Oh, yeah, we don't have the
that
votes
we
to go
need
into an
to-
executive session.
not reveal now, or we have in executive
We
session?
can't have an executive session.
We can't, oh,
We don't
because
have
we don't
a
have
We
a
don't
quorum,
have, we don't have
okay.
a quorum to vote.
Yeah, we don't have a quorum for the vote, but what we're gonna do is, we're streaming this, we're gonna do a unanimous consent resolution.
Okay.
So everybody who is on the board will get this, they already have received the loan report.
Okay.
And they'll have an opportunity to call and ask questions and then get their approval.
And then as soon as we got approval, we can
As soon
get
as-
everything executed
Okay, good.
within.
So I
probably
certainly
24
would
days.
want like the financial analysis and the credit history and all that public information,
Okay.
so. Yeah, we don't have to, we don't have to verbalize those
Yeah.
figures, we can just give the.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing. Some of the breakdown and the organization of my budget is,
Yeah, we don't have to go into that level of
yeah, I
detail.
mean,
They, the
I'm
board
fine
members all
covering
have it?
Yeah, I
Yep.
just, kinda iffy about it being public, you know, some of the.
And is this
some of
okay?
the bands.
Is that service of? Cause that's what you're asking for, and that would be like.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
That's,
So you just make the power right for it.
And then
What's that?
we have,
yeah, that's fine. I
recommendation,
just
Yeah,
didn't
we don't
like-
have to go into
goes
that level.
forward.
Yeah,
For approval, and then this is the collateral,
And I
it's the same
think
as
all of the background
CCI.
information, all they got, yeah.
okay, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
I
Yeah,
will,
yeah.
So if they
pass
wanna
out
ask
some
those
of those
questions, they
things as a
absolutely
review.
can.
Yeah, I just
Send
until
it to
everything's
me,
like,
but wait, I'm seeing my copy.
Yeah.
I know none of them had any issues,
Email
and
it.
they got
It might be easier
all
to
of
email.
the
Email,
Okay.
okay.
once everything's
I
locked in,
will
I've
do
got
that.
no problem with it, but.
Yep. No, I get it, yeah, so
Finishing
this is
up
what-
negotiations.
application
Yeah.
and just the budget
I
sheet,
thought way too much
and then what you
information.
sent, so.
Alright.
yeah. Alright, do you wanna get started?
I'm gonna give you
Sure.
this copy.
Jeff, you said that Tony is coming?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I saw him at the gym.
Yeah, he's probably
We worked out
finishing
together.
He's not
before-
still at the
7
gym,
mile
is
or
he?
something.
Yeah, he said if he was late, he'll be like, 2 minutes late because he'll.
Well, it's past that.
Okay.
We're just at this
Yeah.
point now.
I think we can start.
Alright.
All right, well, either way, it'll still be discussion only, so we'll go ahead and get started, it's 5:07. The call to order for the Jamestown Local Development Corporation, it is Wednesday, April 20th, 2022, currently 5:08 PM. At this point, we do not have a quorum, we will need 5 members for any voting. So we'll table any consideration or approval of the minutes, as well as any financial reports. If there is anything from our current board members, anything on those things? Kind of skip through those, and we'll go directly to the Fund for Downtown Programming proposal, and we have 1 applicant. So Crystal, if you'd like to introduce
I
Mickey
would
and
love to.
the Willowbird.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna take any thunder away from Mickey, he's gonna, like, explain the event and his proposal, and this is, again, a request for funding for downtown programming. So if you wanna introduce yourself and take it away.
Greetings, Mickey Gertz. Thank you for having me here today and considering my application. So yes, I'd like to bring back Willowbird Music and Arts Festival this summer after being down for 2 years. I think it's prime time to bring this back to the community. I've got a really effective, efficient program honed from the couple of years we were able to experiment with this concept, 2018, 2019. And I would really appreciate y'all's help in bringing this about this year. So I've got the program, let's see, August 11th through the 13th. Those will be the main dates of the program. We will still be doing programming on Wednesday the 10th though. So kind of seeing Whirlybird in action, what we're gonna do is do a Whirlybird warm-up on Wednesday, kind of test our facilities at Winter Garden Plaza. I'll have 2 bands, more of an abbreviated art program, much smaller festival imprint. I don't think we're gonna end up shutting down the road for that, although we do have it cleared if need be. And then following our events at Winter Garden Plaza from about 5 to 9 PM, we're gonna be doing open mics throughout the community. Talked to Karate Sleepover, and they're gonna be bringing back their comedy open mic at the lab. That's been down and out, but they're looking to bring that back for Whirlybird. Be doing a music open mic at the Cellar, as well as the Beer Snob. Thursday, we'll start the main program, and we'll be featuring Michaela Davis with St. Vith and the Ukalads at Winter Garden Plaza. Free show, all ages. And following that, we'll have a show at the Jamestown Wine Cellar and karaoke. We're talking to Forte about bringing karaoke back for Whirlybird at Forte, and then we'll be doing a DJ, James Blomquist at the Beer Snob. Friday, we're going to be working with the Cruise In. So we got approval today from the Chamber of Commerce, as well as the JRC for using Winter Garden Plaza to do a beer garden concept where we just keep our permit, utilize the permit that we already have for Whirlybird. Have a sectioned off beer garden where we play music during the downtime, which the in-crowd, the Cruise-In's band isn't playing. We're also gonna host, we were talking about doing cornhole, have a small art exhibit going on, just something to kind of accentuate and bring out their event a little bit more. And then we'll be moving into our evening program, which will be several bands at Lost Recording Studio, the Beer Snob, and the Wine Cellar, as well as what looks to be karaoke at Shawbucks. On Saturday, it'll be more our traditional program where we'll do our headliner, and it's one thing that I'm asking for funds to help make possible is to make our headliner event a free event. Bringing Munyon in from Chicago or Talk from Long Island to headline with Working Man's Dead, which is Buffalo's premier Grateful Dead cover band, full 6-piece. They do an incredible job. They're featured at a lot of the major festivals around. And then we're working on, right now I'm getting Miller and the Other Sinners, which is Steve Davis's new project. Steve is well known at being an Infinity instructor, his own band, the Steve Davis Band, or Steve Davis Group, excuse me. But yeah, we're gonna, all things are pointing in the direction that his new act out of Buffalo is going to be opening up. That will continue on, that will go from about 3 o'clock to 9:30, and we'll continue on into our evening program as is tradition. So we're looking at, again, bands at Lost Recording Studio, the Jamestown Wine Cellar, Shawbucks will hopefully pan out, and then Beer Snob, of course. And then I forgot to mention, both Friday and Saturday will also be featuring free entertainment at Haggie's Four Below. I'm doing, Ryan Bizzetto will be coming back to town from Nashville to do a set. And then Adam McKillop of the Probables and Smile and the Ghost, he'll be doing a set on Saturday. Lineup's pretty much 90–95% locked in place. Just a few little variables we're trying to figure out right now, but given the time frame, everything's coming along very nicely. One major addition that we're gonna be putting forth this year is to make an actual arts festival. So we've got three designated areas will be the live painting throughout the outdoor portion of the festival at Winter Garden Plaza. So I've requested funds to help finance that as far as materials for our local artists, as well as having the live painting going on during the concerts. We're also going to be being very strong and forward with getting art vendors at the event and with the ability to showcase and sell their art. So one idea that I've been really focusing on is utilizing Mechanics Alley as it continues on past our loading area, but bringing that into our festival imprint and using it to display artwork and to house vendors for the duration of the event. That's also within our alcohol consumption plan, so people will be able to take their beers down there between sets and check out the artwork, and it's kind of, it's a very nice alley, if you say so myself, so cool off, do whatever they like to do. So as far as comedy goes, we'll be doing, could be bringing comedy back this year, open mic on Wednesday, and then we're looking to do another headliner event like we did with Steve Rogers, not Captain America, the comedian. He came and did like an evening show at Jamestown Brewing Company in 2019, so we're looking to kind of build on that at the Beer Snob, and then that will transition into DJ Blomquist as well as the audience on Friday night. The audience will be coming back out of retirement to play our festival, as well as I think they're going to be at the Herring Grounds this summer, so that'll be pretty cool. Yes, that kind of describes, quickly going over 4 days of programming, describes everything. It doesn't leave anything out of note.
I don't think so, other than you've already gotten your special event permit
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
It's all taken care of, and we've
So-
been through public safety already.
Yeah, we've been through public safety. I am going to, I need to fix a couple things on the application, so I revised the application to include Friday and then just a load time being a little bit earlier. But all that's getting processed. The insurance policy is prepared. It's just waiting for signature, so they can put the binder, do the binder. But really With funds applied, we're looking at 4 days, 4 days of free events, you know, and 4 days of free events centralized at Winter Garden Plaza, while still having free events around town, such as the open mics, the acoustic solo playing at Haggie's, our karaoke events at Forte and Shawbucks, as well as we're working on doing a package with the DoubleTree where you can purchase an evening stay as well as one of our evening tickets for the venues as one solid package. So one thing we'd like to do, I think, on during when they're accepting people check-in time on Saturday before our program starts is kind of what I'm calling the Aloha show. So we'll be having somebody play at the DoubleTree during lunch hours to accept everybody in, and then everything will kind of transition over to Winter Garden Plaza. That way there's a little bit of ambiance even when we're receiving people into town. Yes, I mean that's pretty much the program. I mean, there's obviously a lot of moving parts, so if anybody has any questions, please, you know, bring them now.
So, the grant request is $38,700, of which 12,500 is upfront loan. So, it's kind of how we've done things in the past. If any of the bands require some kind of a retainer, or you know, there are upfront costs for events like this. So, at the end of the day, the actual grant will end up being $26,200 because the loan gets paid back immediately.
And now, yeah, that'll help cover pretty much all the deposits. So for the free bands, because we're not going to be taking any ticket from that, it's probably just going to pay as much of that as possible up front. Everybody requires, the big bands require 50% minimum, but I think we're just going to try to clear, you know, 80 to 100% off of that with that loan, so it's out of the way, and we're just focusing on promoting the event at that point.
Just to confirm, Whirlybird did receive a prior grant award, is that correct?
Yes.
In 2019?
Back in 2019 for 5,000 or 5,500.
It was, yeah, I believe it was 5,500, and it helped cover one of the part of the headliner.
Yeah, so it was actually not for the festival as a whole, but for the
One
specific
band.
headliner.
For Tropidelic
Yeah.
specifically, yeah.
Tropidelic.
Yeah.
Great band names.
Oh, they're
Getting more creative by the day.
it's really neat to see. One thing I've done a good job with is getting a lot of these bands before they're too expensive. We're in a very special market where we don't have a venue space to really get some big names that would, you know, if we did, it would be required to like spend maybe upwards of $50 a ticket. I've been getting bands like before they come to a price point that's, you know, prohibitive. So Tropidelic, when we had them in 2019, I mean, to get them now, we got, I think it was around, 5,500, to get them now would be at least 12,000. They just released a single with 311. They're doing incredibly well. Same with 2020, Magic Beans, the band that I was able to get, unfortunately, to cancel, got an incredible rate, and the rate that it quadrupled within 2 years. So I'm really confident in where we're bringing our bands in right now. Same mentality. It's really getting them to understand what we're trying to do, what we're trying to build here, it's a very, again, specific market. So I've been able to explain that to them and get them excited about coming to Jamestown to perform, which is, you know, it's been part of the challenge, but I'm enjoyable with that. So.
How many bands over the 4 days?
Over the 4 days, I never did.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I just remember your poster from like 2019.
Yeah, that was like over 52 acts all included.
Wow.
I think it was like overdone a little bit. So, well, it just could have been spaced out a little bit better. So 1, 2. Yeah, so we're looking at about 35 acts, roughly. One thing that this year that's a little bit different than 2019 is help with the budget. We're taking on a little bit fewer of the acts, but having them play a little bit longer. That way the flow isn't quite as rushed. People have a little bit more chance to showcase their talent. It makes the local spots a little bit more covetable, if you will. So we're really only taking on locals that really have it all together. But yeah, a little bit longer sets this year. So.
Excellent. Any questions for Mickey? Mickey, I don't know a word that you're saying about any of these bands. But,
So
I appreciate you being the tastemaker for Jamestown and helping put us in the spotlight.
it's been nice to, again, like to, build these bridges and create these networks. One of the goals is to really nourish the scene and to develop it. And we did a lot of good work over the first couple of years. Unfortunately, the scene is just, it's really taken a hit over the past couple of years. So there's a lot fewer bands around. There are a lot fewer venues. Now, fortunately, we've got a situation with the Beer Snob, gorgeous venue they're building out. It's gonna be smaller, but very nice. Lost is an absolutely wonderful facility. And then Joel over at the Beer Snob is trying to do, everything. He's moving mountains to change how that place operates. So along with all the renovations they did, in a couple weeks now, they're gonna knock out the smoke room and build a stage up at the front with full sound and make that a little more of a mainstay and a home for the local music scene. But yeah, it's been really nice. It's to create these networks with Buffalo, with Pittsburgh, with like all these different cities, and get them excited about Jamestown, and being able to see some of our bands kind of use those networks and reach out a little bit themselves. So it's a process, but it's definitely coming along.
Great. Thank you. We won't be voting tonight on it, but we'll continue forward, and Crystal will be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very
We'll
welcome.
stay or go, your choice.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go see Bill Burr in Pittsburgh tomorrow, so I'm going to excuse myself and go finish packing.
Thank you.
All
How do
right,
I
thank
get that job?
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate
Job
your
for
time.
everyone.
All right, thank you very
sir.
much.
Okay, next item of business is the loan application for international ordinance.
International Ordnance Technology. And this is Tammy Snyder. She is the owner and president of IoT, is what we call it. Crystal and I had the opportunity to go down and tour IoT on Thursday, and we were so impressed with what happens there and how they're able to keep it all together. How Tammy has really built a family among all of the employees. And so I wanted to bring this loan to you and share with you as much as I can, as we were talking about prior, the nature of the business, dealing with links, for, as I explained, the Rambo guns. So we trying to keep it as open as possible. If you have any questions about this, you can talk to myself or Tammy afterwards. But I'll get started. So in this project description, and another thing, it's not an LLC, it is an INC, it is incorporated. So we'll be fixing that on our documents.
Duly noted.
There we go. So IoT has been operating in Jamestown since 2002, and please take this with you and read this. This is the history, and I will be sending this out again for everyone. It's the history of IoT, and like we said, we recognized some names in there, and we were surprised to see Aldolf Miranda. Yeah, we were surprised to see that there's a connection in there. I found out that a kayaking buddy is involved in this family as well, so it has long roots. But they started this company in 2002, manufacturing machine gun blinks. And from this, IoT has established two complementary manufacturing processes: an austempier, heat treat, and barrel phosphate. Currently, IoT employs a staff of 35 personnel. That's with the shop floor and the office and administrative personnel. IoT manufactures military hardware with original tooling that was invented and patented in the early 1900s by the great-grandfather of IoT's president, T.M. Snyder. In March of 2022, IoT received a U.S. Economic Development Administration loan from the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency to purchase a new endo generator for the heat treat line, which would reduce expenses by a minimum of $50,000 per year. And while they were doing this, while they brought in this new piece of equipment, their heat treat furnace broke. And so in order to get this cost-cutting measure up and running, they had to repair this heat treat, and for many facets of their production. So the repair of this heat treat furnace is the project for which this loan is being requested, and the project itself totals $230,000. That's just in repairs, okay? And it is just a refurbishment to make it practically brand new. And I was told, you can jump in here, Tamara, I was told by Carol that this new heat treat, you're gonna be using a different type of fuel for it, is that correct?
Well, that's where the endo generator comes in, because what we found was, and I don't want this out public, but what we found
Then
is.
We're recording.
Okay, so,
So if you don't wanna, yeah,
You're
don't go into
recording.
detail if you don't.
Oh, okay. So anyways, so.
Good thing we said that.
yeah.
So the method of generating the endo gas that we were using was creating a deuterative atmosphere inside that furnace, so it deteriorated the furnace prematurely, which we didn't know was going to happen. And you know, we just took the advice of the furnace manufacturers and the people that were there. But unbeknownst to us, 10 years later, 12 years later, it's deteriorated several years sooner than it should have. And so, you know, we ended up having to do this complete rebuild on the furnace unexpectedly. And, you know, just coming off of the COVID years and, you know, cash flow down because of everything with COVID, and, you know, just didn't put us in a great position to be able to have the internal cash flow to support such a unplanned repair, I'll just put it that way.
And it's a large repair.
Yeah, and so, but the furnace will be like brand new. We re-bricked the entire inside of it, we repaired the chute, the bed that the belt rides on is all brand new. So, you know, it is essentially a brand new heat treat furnace. So, you know, we'll be good for another 15, 20 years, so that's the good news.
Nuts.
And the endo generator, we were having difficulties, and we found what was a deficiency in the atmosphere. Not that it wasn't producing correct atmosphere, it was just hard to maintain, and it deteriorated our belts, and we had to buy belts more frequently. It was producing more carbon into our furnace, and it was withdrawing out the nickel out of the metals, so it weakened all the metals inside of the furnace. So this endo generator that we had ordered, creating that generated gas atmosphere for the furnace, will cure all of these problems. And so, you know, it just happened that it went hand in hand, that the furnace needed the repairs from the deterioration, premature deterioration, and the generator was coming in at the same time, so kind of the cure to the problem.
Yeah, and we're familiar with IoT. The JLDC has been with them before. As we go forward, you'll see. Something we learned on our tour is that IoT really has, you know, a few competitors in what they do, but they are one company who can produce a product from, you know, start to finish. And with this heat treat, you know, it enables them to do just that. You can read more about that if you'd like. But this is a very strong selling point for IoT.
Cause our competitors, there's only one other competitor that does that, so.
So it cuts back time to produce products, it makes you much more competitive in your.
Exactly.
And we're in control of our processes, which is really big.
Quality control.
And, you know, the cost of transportation, especially now, is huge, and so, you know, and I'm just gonna put that in perspective, when we're in full force production and if we're outsourcing our heat treat, you know, we're running trucks every day, every other day, you know, back and forth to Michigan or Cleveland or somewhere like that, and so you could understand the cost of outsourcing, and then, you know, you take a load out, you bring a load back, you know what I mean, it's just constant back and forth, so having it internally is really significant.
And
Is
that's
your
why-
competitor in the United States?
That does that? No.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones in the United States, one has heat treating internally, but they outsource their phosphating, and the other one doesn't have either.
Okay.
And with this furnace and these capabilities, IoT is going to be able to close on a multi-million-dollar contract with a nationally recognized company to produce a much-needed link. And IoT will also be equipped to pursue a new product line with 2 other nationally recognized companies. And these new contracts will create at least 7 new positions, high-quality, high-paying jobs, full-time jobs at IoT. Now, as I was saying, we do have a little bit of history with the IoT, as they've been in operation since 2002. Now, in October of 2003, IoT received a loan from the JLDC in an amount of $350,000. During the 10-year payback term, IoT suffered some setbacks from which they are still recovering. Because of international businesses they conduct, there are many hurdles to the shipment of products. Early on in the 2000s, IoT had signed a contract with, to do some business in the country for which this business was absolutely permitted at the time of the contract. And you're nodding your head, because you know what happens. All of a sudden,
Embargoes.
embargo. So all of a sudden they couldn't, and they took, we figured it was a $3 million hit for that. And, and so they were unable to fulfill that contract, even though they just couldn't ship it out. So, and you still have that.
Yeah, we still have that product.
We still have it. But however, IoT has never been positioned so well as now to grow their business. They've developed relationships with several national and international businesses who have signed contracts for products that can only be produced by IoT. Because of the diplomatic nature of IoT's business, relationship building and word of mouth is the best marketing for their products. IoT, as I said, maintains 28 quality, high-paying jobs in the shop part of the facility. They boast 66 customers, with 10 of those being international. And with low competition and new product methodology, IoT is a startup company whose time has finally come. And you can see the sales projections here. And that's with some of these national companies and this new product methodology that we learned about on Thursday, where you can see how their sales are expected to grow. And you can take a look at their.
And this is
financial-
modest,
Yeah, very,
based on
very.
what it actually may be.
And you can read about their financial analysis and credit history, and we'll keep that off the public record. And there will be, if I'm correct, there's no bridging needed for the loan because the repair of the heat treat furnace has occurred in good faith that IoT will obtain the financing necessary to pay the bill. So we pay them directly, they pay the, I have the name of the company here and I can't remember what it is. Yeah, for the heat treat, but it was, what, 7? I think I have 7 different invoices, nothing less than 12,000, ranking up to like 35,000 just for this repair. And you can see that the amount that they're asking for is $90,000, and it was also the same amount that was requested and approved from the CCIDA. So we're going in that together, which brings us into the collateral of a co-equal subordinate security position with CCIDA on machinery and equipment, furniture and fixtures, accounts receivable, and all assets of the company. Life insurance assignment by Tammy Snyder, and a personal guarantee from Tammy Snyder. And, you know, I have no doubt, I take that kind of seriously in my job, you know, I go out and I research this and see exactly what is happening. If I have any questions, I stop the process immediately and ask, and with Tammy, that was it, I asked right away. You know, some very important questions about the loans, and I came down with my little clipboard, and we walked right through the factory, and, you know, very, very impressed with everything we saw and how fulfilled the employees are there. That was, I think, one of the biggest things that we noted was just how happy they were to be there, and I think that's really, really important. So we want to keep that going for another 10 years.
There you go.
Yeah. Like we said, we'll be, you know, voting on that after, during a unanimous consent resolution. But it all sounds good, all looks good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The only thing that I ask is that I've had to, the company, the heat treat company had requested that I make some payments to them because they had some large jobs coming in. And I dispersed that, I can prove that I
Sure.
sent those checks to you, so if
Mhm.
you could just reimburse me,
Absolutely.
that would
That's
be
how we'll do
very
it.
helpful.
Yep.
Because I took that out of my cash flow, which
Yeah.
eventually is going to hurt me.
Yeah, it's gonna catch up, yeah. And, Ben, our attorney here, we've been very proactive, and we pulled up all the, paperwork today, so we know where we're at. Ben is just exceptional at what he does. I was reading one of his contracts like a novel today, I was so excited, so.
Awfully boring now.
So we will get right on that, we'll do the, you know, unanimous consent.
Yep, we'll get that out probably this
Immediately.
evening.
Yeah.
And then, I think I'll request that vote, if we can get it done by end of business day Friday, then we can get everything processed, first thing next week.
No, that'd be great,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
So other questions for Tammy? Great,
You all
thank
wanna
you
go
so
down and
much for
see
coming
it?
in.
Well, thank you guys
We
very
appreciate
much.
it. Thanks for all the work that you do.
Absolutely.
You've supported me through the years and our company, and it really has meant a lot, and it's helped us, you know, through our hard times and our good
Mhm.
times, and, you know, we greatly appreciate how you appreciate your local businesses and support them. I just wanna thank you.
Unrelated question I asked before you got here, did you guys used to make the blades for the K-bar knives sometime in your history?
The blades.
Like for the, I think the Marine Corps carries that K-bar knife.
Oh, no?
No?
Mm-mm.
I just remember being in a business, I worked for the police department,
Oh,
and I know I was in your building and maybe in the middle of the night, I don't know, wireman.
oh, yeah.
I remember seeing these
Couple
blades,
times,
and one of the businesses was being made locally, I just thought that was.
Yep.
the-
No, the GI can opener has been made by our family, and the stripper clips, and machine gun links, and.
Stripper clips, that was the term that I was
That's
looking
it.
for.
Yeah.
So are you still doing the 5.56 and the 7.62, is that what you guys do?
Yeah, we do all small and medium caliber
Sure.
links, machine gun
Mhm.
links, and then we do also the stripper clips,
Mhm.
so. Well, thank you guys very much, I appreciate
Thank you
it.
for coming.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. Okay, let me get that out to you, and the answer.
Be in touch.
That'd be great,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, there's no executive session. So, Chrissy, you have any discussion of WC contract to administer ARPA programs?
Yes, obviously no action that can be taken this evening, but we just wanted to, make sure that we have some kind of direction as far as what a contract with the city may look like, to administer ARPA funds. We've talked about it at city council, but I think we need to just make sure that we're going to formalize that. We have a sample from a contract that was already put together, with the, Chautauqua Watershed Conservancy for the project that we're working on, so we're thinking that we'll use that, just, you know, change it to make it appropriate for any of the programs that, we will administer through the JLEC, so. Just wanna put it out there and make sure that we, I guess, if there's discussion to be had, have that discussion, but I feel like it's pretty straightforward and, you know, some kind of contract should be in place. So. Thoughts?
You're gonna have a busy summer. Guarantee every third Wednesday.
Are there any other old business? Any new business? Any other comments from public or from our board? Okay, hearing none, can't even vote. We're gonna adjourn. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.
motion.
Yeah, can't even make a motion.
All
You
discussion.
mentioned 90,000 is going for
Yeah.
IoT, and that's from you guys, and one from the IDA. Do you know if the IDA there?
I would give Carol a call, because I would